Okay, guys, welcome to our class today. And today we'll be doing probably a four segment class, whereby this class will be broken into four segments, which each lasting only about 10 minutes. Okay, so I'm starting out something new, probably we have never tried before. Those are among the things that we'll be trying in this class, which is among other things is that I have already silent in the comment section, but I hope you can follow the session as we go along. All right. So to pick up the pace, we are actually continuing from the previous class. Okay, and we are doing on topic 4, which is on the charter party agreement, and it will end with the late time calculation. Okay, so that will be the coverage of this segment for the whole 4 videos on this topic. All right, getting on straight into the matter. Okay, Okay. We're looking at the charter party clauses. First, by defining the various charter party freight clauses, how they are calculated. So, what we want to find out is at this point is about how does the people in this agreement get paid. Okay. So, as I mentioned before, in the last class we talked about the each unit of the clauses inside each document. And I also mentioned that from different types of agreement will lead to different clauses. So in today's class, we are definitely looking into the aspects of how they get paid and how they get penalized for doing something wrong. Okay, so in this area we call under charter party freight clauses. Okay, this is how the freight or the remuneration payable to the charterers to the owner for the performance of the contract. Okay, so it may be defined as the charter party freight contract. All right. So in this area, the freight clauses is going to specify what is the freight rate. So when we say about freight rate, how you going means that how are you going to be paid? Okay, is it going to be in some form of cash? Is it going to be um, some sort of interbank transaction? So there has to be some sort of mechanism of how payments to be done. Now, in the normal days, when the deal is being done in Malaysia, among Malaysians, so we can see that they've been doing it for the payment in ringgit Malaysia. But then there are the terms of payment. Is it going to be paid full at the end of the whole process, or is it going to be handed in before anything takes off? Okay, so these are among the things that you want to find out what's actually the normal stigma, or you might say the normal practices that we may have in the market today. Okay, so there will be hearing some new words, something like letter of credits, bank guarantees, and so on. But I assure you, some of those are just mere instruments that's going to help you in how the freight is being paid. Okay, so now the terms that they use is based on the US dollar. Now someone say, "Oh, why the US dollar?" Now we have to take as one simple denomination currency as our means of reference point. So because every international payment is all being done through the US dollar, so we are taking that as a normal commodity trade that payable of the freight must be done in US terms. Okay, so be it for local trade, be it for international, it may be payable in local currency, but in terms of international, normally the terms are inscribed as in US dollars. Okay, so it also says about you must be paid under common law, absolute not any term of contract. If it doesn't say anything about that, still the US dollar becomes prominent. Okay, okay. Some may say, oh, I think it's in yen, perhaps it's in euro and so on. No, no, no. We have to follow based on what's the normal customary terms of payment. Okay. What that being said, okay. Next, we will move on under the charter party terms. Okay. Partial payment advances before loading or now why do we have the differences of this kind of payment? Now, normally when we have for liner, okay, or perhaps when we have for voyage, okay, voyage charter, then the payment has to be done in advance before the ship starts to sail. Okay, so it's like you buy yourself a ticket before riding the bus itself. So it's not a matter of you taking the bus on and then when you reach to the side and then you start paying for the driver. Sometimes it can be done that way, but to ease the process of the collection of money and making sure that everything's in, so they would ask in advance or sometimes partially advance. Okay, partial advance. There is some variation in that sense. Okay, all right. Moving on. So when is freight not payable? Unless there have been a breach of the contract. Okay, so there are clauses that have to cover on what is actually covers as being paid. Okay, so normally when you say about paid, to be paid means you will be receiving the money. So in what form are you receiving the money? So what we talked just now is in the form of what is which is so-called advance payment or prepayment. Okay, just like your phone, prepaid. Okay, and then the rest would be some which is at the end of the journey itself. Okay, so at the end of the term of the time charter, the full payment will be being paid. But there are those that goes on as soon as every drop of payment, each shipment is completed, then they have a sort of contractual amount of payment being done, so that as you remember in the last class with in the industry classroom, our speaker mentioned also a back-to-back terms of payment. So back-to-back terms of payment, when he gets paid, then he will pass the payment to the other side, which is the ship owner. Okay, so to do back-to-back, there are some criteria concern that you must fulfill in order to reach for that. So in the case where the freight is not payable, so means that they have they have involved some sort of breach of contract. Okay, so to have some sort of breach of contract, when can this happen and when can it happen? Okay, so we look first. When is the freight payable in advance? Okay, marked as freight prepaid or freight paid beforehand. Okay, so as the payable, as the name goes, okay, as the name goes, okay, we take the product, put it available, and put it on ship, then we send it out. That is what we start straight away as freight payable. Okay, so what are the other kinds of payment that you can use? Okay, now please refer this accordingly. Okay, we have the pro rata, we have the ordinary, charter party freight. Okay, pro rata means that it's actually almost similar to lump sum. Okay, all right. Then there's advance freight prepaid just now. Back freight ad valorem means that the partial as soon as one segment of the contract is being completed, and then you have some portion of payment. Is that almost like if you want to refer it, it's like buying a house. When you buy a house that you are in the process of building the house, so the contractor will start to ask, can I have my payment? Okay, so he has shown to you that okay, I've completed 30% of my agreement. So I've already done the foundation, I already done this, I've already done that. So I'm going to ask him for 20% of the payment. Okay. And he move on doing the whole project until he finishes. Okay. So as he goes along to complete the project, okay, and he will be asking for payment. First 20% for the foundation, maybe when the walls are already there, he'll be asking about 40%, and or perhaps when the whole roofing system and everything is already there, 50% upfront payment is required, and the next so on and so on and so on until the contract is completed. Okay, so it does now. What does this do to the company? So you as a operator or the broker or even the ship owner, you are not likely to run out of money suddenly. If this project runs about 3 years, okay. So in the whole 3 years, you're not getting paid. That's simply possible, right? So there must be some kind of payment that has to go on while you are doing all this, because other payments like port dues, the terminal handling charges at the port, all that has to be paid for. Okay, and to complete all that, payment from the ship owner or perhaps the charterer has to be done. So the charterer makes the payment accordingly, either it ad valorem, paid in advance, back freight, or we have there lump sum payment, bill of lading freight. I know it's repetitive, so I think I wrote it. Okay, so envelope I mentioned twice. I think it's time we cut this. Ah, ah, even batch. Okay, okay, back to the slide. Okay, back to the slide. So, what do we mean by ordinary freight charter party? Okay, it is payable when the charterer or the owner performs the contract. So the clause, well, excuse me. Okay, so there is a specific clause that clearly states how is the payment is going to be done. So the full payment has to be done accordingly. This is the name of banks, uh, methods of payment through direct transfer, just like what you may have done in Shopee and so on, or perhaps in Lazada. It's almost the same. Direct. That is what we call wire transfer. Okay. Um, it is considered as ordinary charter party freight payment. Now, um, this is the clause, okay? I don't want you to be misconstrued, okay? Jangan salah faham. Okay, misconstrued. Thinking that this is when we say ordinary, we mean that it has to be this is the clause, okay? In the contract, it is written how payment is to be done, okay? So if the payment is being done through checks or actual cash payment transfer, means that is customary. Okay. So if the normal thing to do is through payments of a series of checks, so how they get paid. Okay. Uh, so, excuse me. So details of the bank accounts, documents, such as bill of lading must be accompanied, okay, according to the charter party, then this payment can be drawn out, okay. So this is a very crucial area, okay. This is a very crucial area on how the people involved in the charter party gets paid, okay. Thank you for the part one of this lesson. Bye bye.